maybe not the best spot to shoot a video, but I like seeing them all launch, so we're gonna play with it. Today I wanted to take some time to talk about the powerful meaning of first impressions, because I think it's very common for people to not really be very sure about whether a relationship or friendship is right for them. I mean, if it's actually working, or if it's just it's easier to stay in it than to get out of it. And the reason why I talk about first impressions is because when we get to know a person, then at that point we don't have this kind of rationalization that sets in over time when we allow people into our lives, because we get used to it, that they are in our lives, and we have a whole bunch of experiences and attachments that build up. And so it's much easier later on in a relationship or friendship to just let it be and not attempt to change it. But if we take a look at the first impressions, then I think it can really help you get some clues about the kind of the value of the relationship, right? So when you first meet a person, there is an instant kind of sense that you get, and I would argue that this kind of chemistry, if you will, is really not going to change in the vast majority of cases. Now, why is it going to stay the same in principle? Well, really it's because in general people don't change, and there are people who change, and they are by far the exception. And I have changed dramatically as a person, but when I think back to my younger self, I can tell that the fundamental values that I held subconsciously during my childhood, and that have become conscious through self-exploration in the later years of my life now, they're principally the same. And why is that? Well, arguably, scientifically, a vast majority of one's personality is genetic, so there's really not a whole bunch about it that can be changed. But also the kind of parenting that you've received, the kind of upbringing that you experience, is extremely defining. So if we assume for a moment that people didn't change, if the relationship that you have with this person in this present moment is going to stay exactly like it is, and there's nothing that you can change about it, there's nothing that is going to make you feel more comfort. If we assume that for a minute, then would you want to be with that person? Now, it's really not so much the fundamental values, the core values a person holds that can change, that really change. I don't think that really happens very often or at all. What changes is people's level of consciousness, and as I've argued, or rather presented in one of my last videos, consciousness is the depth to which we are accurately perceiving the reality of our life experience. And so people who change are merely becoming more conscious, more aware of the actual true values they hold. They are no longer misguided, so they become more of the true self they really are. And so that's really where change and the improvement of relationships comes in. It's being honest with oneself and with other people about the situations, about the problems, about conflicts. Like, to talk about it honestly and to try to resolve that and raise the level of consciousness about the situation, so that people can become more of who they truly are and less false, right? Less defensive. So we can try to raise the level of consciousness in the interaction, and through that we find out what the real value, what the real truth is with the other person, right? Is the other person really meaning to be kind, or or mean, or are they unaware of what they're doing? So I don't want to ramble on for too much longer. I hope this has been helpful. If you're interested in free coaching with me, you can head over to coherentlifecoaching.com, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.